Before the world learned the name of fear, it learned the name of a woman. Long before your grandmother's grandmother drew her first breath, long before the mighty Oyo Empire rose from the red earth of Yoruba land, there existed 9 villages, blessed and beloved, nestled between sacred forests and the great river Oya. These villages were not rich in gold, they were not rich in iron, but they were rich in something no enemy could steal and no drought could destroy. They were rich in peace, and at the edge of the greatest of these 9 villages lived a woman. Her name was Oya. She was not a queen. She was not a warrior. She was not a priestess or an elder. She was simply a woman who had been born during the worst storm anyone in those 9 villages had ever seen. A storm so violent it split an ancient Iroko tree in half. A storm so loud that children stopped crying, because even their screams could not compete with the scare. Her mother had looked into her newborn eyes in that moment of chaos and named her Oya, the one who tears. The elders whispered that Oya was different, that the wind listened to her, that storms slowed when she walked outdoors, that lightning never struck near wherever she stood. They did not understand it. So like all things they did not understand, they feared it. But Oya did not live her life for their approval. She lived her life in service. Every morning she walked the borders of the 9 villages, listening to the wind and the trees. And the trees always had something to say. It was on one such morning, the day everything changed, that the forest went quiet. Not the quiet of peace, not the quiet after rain, but the quiet that comes when something ancient has woken up. Within 3 days of that silent morning, the first village disappeared. Adidayo, the oldest trader in all 9 villages, came running from the northern path. His hair had turned white overnight, and he spoke only one word: Egungun. In the oldest Yoruba traditions, Egungun is sacred, the spirits of the ancestors walking among the living. But what came from the northern forest was not holy. When Oya entered the forest that night, what she found was not a spirit. What she found was hunger, an ancient emptiness, a devourer, a force that consumed everything it touched, leaving nothing behind but silence and ash. It had no face, no voice, no mercy. It simply was. And it was hungry. Oya ran, and the darkness followed. Slow, patient, unstoppable. The council gathered. They spoke of fighting. They spoke of fleeing. They spoke of sacrifice. But Oya already knew the truth. This was not something that could be fought. It wanted life itself, the warmth of people, the breath of the living. And if it consumed all 9 villages, it would become unstoppable, because Oya had felt it. And in that moment, something inside her had answered. That night, Oya did not sleep. She sat before the fire and asked the question she had carried her entire life: who am I? The answer came, not in words, but in knowing. She saw Sango, god of thunder. She saw a storm, ancient and divine, and she understood. She was not born of the storm. She was born as the storm. The power within her awakened, lightning in her veins, wind in her breath, thunder in her heart. But even that power would not be enough to stop something so ancient. Would require sacrifice. If she released the storm completely, she would lose her humanity, her warmth, her heartbeat, her life. She would become something else, something eternal, but no longer the woman she once was. She stood in a doorway, looking at the village she loved, and then she walked north. At the edge of the forest, the devourer waited. It recognized her. It reached for her. But Oya did not run. She took one final breath of the world she loved and let go. The sky exploded. Lightning tore through the heavens. The earth shook, and Oya rose. Not just a woman anymore, but something greater. A storm made flesh. Wind and lightning wrapped around her like a crown. Her eyes burned with the light of the sky itself. The devourer surged forward, darkness against lightning. They collided, not with weapons, but with existence itself. Oya pushed forward, step by step, driving the darkness back, because the devourer fed on fear, and Oya was made of something stronger. Hope, power, purpose. She reached the tear between worlds, the wound through which the darkness had come, and she knew what she had to do. She reached into her chest and pulled out the last piece of her humanity, a glowing heart of light. She held it for one final moment. Then she let it go. She cast it into the wound. Light exploded. The darkness was dragged back, and the world was sealed. Morning came. The 9 villages awoke to peace. The forest was alive again. The river flowed. The air smelled of rain and new. But Oya was gone. They searched for her, but they did not find her because they had not lost her. For when the storms came, the wind protected them. The lightning never struck their homes. The rain nourished but never destroyed. And sometimes, if you listened closely, you could hear it in the thunder. A voice watching, protecting, loving. This is why the Yoruba people do not fear the storm. Because when thunder speaks, it is not a warning. It is a mother checking on her children. Her name was Oya, and she tears through the sky so that you never have to. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, and follow for more.